Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you're new to this channel, or you have not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they're live, and a PayPal link in the info box below the video once it's rendered. But most importantly, if you would like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the discussion and express your views on the shape of the Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show. Sharing the show increases the live audience, of course, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel. So please share the show. And one last time, if you are new to the channel or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now, we are joined by Chocolate Saying, The Plain Truth, Ranty Flat Earth, and Arwin. How the devil are you all?
All doing good. Doing good. Watching the football as well, though.
Yep, me too. It's awesome. England's blowing Panama out of the water.
5-0.
Fascinating.
Really impressive.
Clearly interested in the football. About you, Plain Truth? Are you the same as me? Couldn't care less?
Yeah, I mean, I'd watch it if I was at a friend's house or something like that, but I'm not into it.
Well,
how are you doing, Chocolate Saying? Can we hear something from you and I'll get you leveled up?
Hello, hello.
Yeah, you're both,
Guys,
both very quiet. There we go. Good to have you.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Well, I tell you what, that blue marble kid is going to be interesting if we see him again. I remember seeing one of his videos pop up, and I was just amused by his courage to publish and talk about it.
Yeah, and he's been at it for months. He has tons of videos, so yeah.
Apparently
he's
frequents
really put himself
Red
out
Rhetoric
there.
Show, so seems interesting that somebody who's like one of that crew, or the one of that crew that's come down, is a 14-year-old boy, rather than Red or Sean. Yeah, we get a 14-year-old. Wonderful.
He's probably the smartest of them all.
I don't know, he just started talking about Cavendish despite the fact we debunked it on 2 different shows only days earlier, so I wouldn't say he was that smart.
Yeah, but don't the others do exactly the same? But they're older and they should be wiser.
That's a fair point.
Yeah, I think that this kid is just like really good at learning things by heart, and he knows all of the textbook things. So he's just putting himself out there with this knowledge. But yeah, he still has a long way to go.
Yeah, well, that's how you get through school, and he's in school, so, you know, if you can parrot things well, you'll get through school well.
Yep. Yeah, but I'm pretty interested to see what happens when the kid actually gets challenged, if he comes back. There's no guarantee that he will come back, of course, but pretty interested to see, like, if we actually start to ask him in-depth questions and questioning the pillars on which he rests the Cavendish experiment, if we go into it in more detail and instead of just pointing him in the right direction, like watch this hangout, but actually address him on the details, what he will do, how he will respond, if he is capable of doing that.
Really? Because, I don't know, I'd want to wait at least a month before going over Cavendish again. It's like, I think that for me, that's just a...
Seriously.
It's a fallacious topic because we've just covered it and we're holding them to account on the perspective omitting proof of nothing fallacious calculations that they make rather than Cavendish, which is just, you know, it's been long debunked by loads of people. It's a nonsense argument that rarely comes up, and yet we've had it 3 times in 3 days while we're talking about perspective. That's interesting.
Yeah. Oh, talking about perspective, There was this video this morning I saw by Red Pill Philosophy.
Yeah, I was
Really,
gonna bring that up.
really awesome.
Well,
That was very impressive.
before we get to that, can you display my screen, Nath?
Yeah, sure.
Because I'm thinking of doing an experiment, and I'd really like it if the ballers could give me some advice as to which stick would be the best one to figure out the shape of the Earth. I'm wondering, should I go for the completely straight one with the knobs on, or the curly one, or one with the branch on?
It's a standard known measure, isn't it? One stick. Isn't that a standard unit of measurement?
But which one?
It has to be firm enough. You have to be able to stick it into the ground. So I choose this
one.
The fourth one, yes.
Yeah, I was thinking that one, but I just want to make sure that
it's sturdiest.
Does it need to have some sort of curve though? Isn't number 2 better because it's got some sort of curvature to it?
Yeah,
number 2 or number 5 maybe.
Come on.
Hey guys, this is how silly your argument sounds.
So we're all keen to talk about Red Pill, but as you brought it apart, when you go first.
Me?
Yeah, you brought it up.
Yeah, I watched it, and the guy really did his homework. He actually, on camera, showed how the view by perspective is... it's hard to explain. He just did it so well on camera. He basically showed how the calculator in an orthographic view pretty much takes a straight line and measure things through that. But in the actual view, and he demonstrated this live, he took a string, put it across an object, and then into the distance, and then like made an actual straight line, like from the orthographic view. Showed where it ended up, and then you get the camera view, what it actually sees, and it shows that it doesn't show the same position. It's, yeah, perspective. It's a mysterious thing because it doesn't give you a absolute straight line aside. It gives you a perspective side. I don't know how else to explain it.
An angle. It gives you an angle.
I guess so.
I mean, you've got a line.
Like a funnel.
The issue
further
is...
into the distance it goes, the more it narrows down, and it basically bends straight. It bends into a straight line. It's really fascinating to see it, but it does kind of work out with the concept of the slant that I devised. It's just amazing to see him actually measure it out and just demonstrate that, yeah, just by the nature of perspective itself, there is an optical slant, even in short distances. It's amazing.
I kind of want to say something, but it's going to go against what you guys are going to say, because I've tried this experiment on the beach, and I took some sticks and a string, and I was measuring it out, and I was trying to see if I could make it as tight as I can and see if there was any curvature of the ocean. The problem that I had was, even though I had the string, there's always the smallest amount of slack. The weight of the string does pull it down. Even though if you think it's tight, it is never 100% straight.
Oh,
it's
I totally
never
agree.
Going to be 100% straight.
I mean, although he did a good job, you know, it wasn't perfect by any stretch of the imagination. But what he was illustrating, you could even call it crude in some ways, but it didn't matter because he made the point, which was all that really mattered. He's not presenting flowcharts and analytical. You know, he's not doing that. He's just showing it visually and saying, "Here you go."
I enjoyed his presentation. I thought it was great. But I'm thinking from the baller's side, if they were going to argue this point, it's a valid point, is that the string would never be as taut as he actually thinks it would be, because I've done the experiment myself and I've seen how the nature of the string would drop. Even if it's only a 1/10 of a centimetre, 1 millimetre, that would still give you an artificial curve.
Sure, I can't disagree with that. You know, I'm hoping more people will do this similar experiments. You know, what we've got from Ruhif this morning, just before the show was live, was yet another orthographic demonstration where he moves the bulge along the line of sight, a single line. He hasn't got a viewing angle to the target, which suddenly gets intersected or not intersected. You know, it doesn't work like that. The problem they've got is there's a bulge, and there isn't a bulge. We all know this. There's no bulge. So quantifying and calculating out the angular size of a bulge when there isn't one is going to be very difficult. But they've engineered the maths to ignore perspective. For the now, that is what we are focused on. At some stage, I know Anthony and I have discussed this at length, and I'm chomping at the bit to go through it in more detail, but he's like, no, we've got no need. We're holding all the cards. We're holding these people to account. So Anthony's of the opinion, you know, we will move on to the bulge in a lot more detail eventually. But for now, let's just, you know, let's get them to concede that the calculator doesn't have perspective in it, and we have got concessions. However, we've still got people like Ruhif who think it doesn't matter. That, yeah, I can just deny perspective is an important factor here. And it is an important factor. You know, it doesn't matter how many orthographic side elevation cartoons you draw. You know, there's people out there that are just doing it, just showing that stuff gets smaller into the distance. And if there was a bulge that obscured your view, as opposed to us being able to zoom into the flat plane for miles and miles and miles, that bulge would be massive at low elevations. So you've got this huge problem of something that should be there but isn't, that should obstruct our view but doesn't. You know, it's all a big shit show. The calculations based on exclusion of perspective, the whole thing's starting to fall apart as far as I can tell.
It's very telling, by the way, that all these flat earthers that are basically dealing with this, they're all using actual views, actual camera work, pictures, perspective. And all the ballers in all of their counter arguments, they're always using that side view model every single time. They never actually apply it to actual pictures. It's ridiculous.
That's a very good point, that needs labouring on, actually.
You can almost instantly tell by just looking at the video and what is demonstrated what the person is, if he's a baller or if he's a flat earther. If it's actual video footage, there's a good chance that it's a flat earther. If it's some drawing or some orthographic view thing, then it's probably a baller.
That's almost analogous to showing space training in a pool.
Go on. How do you make that?
That's all they do. All they do is show the space training in the pool. They don't actually show it in space. So they're showing the orthographic. No, doesn't work for you. Makes sense to me.
Kind of.
It's still in perspective, so.
Not really, but should we humor him? It's a brilliant example of the plain truth. We're so glad you're here.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I'm the comic
Top
relief,
form.
okay.
But they don't actually show the real thing. That's the point. That's the analogy you were trying to make. And
there you go. There you go.
Now I get it. Yes, now I get it. They're not showing you it in space. They're showing you a cartoon, in essence, right?
Right. Yes, yes, yes.
Something that is supposed to represent an emulation, not the real thing. Just like the side view that the ballers use to demonstrate their curvature calculations. Not
So
the real
can I come out of?
Don't worry, Plain. I understood. I got it.
Can I come out of the corner now?
You're cool. You're cool, bro.
So, Arwin, you say Ruhif did a video. Did he give any explanations for what he was doing in it? Did it make any sense?
What? Did I say that? When?
Somebody said that Ruhif had done a video.
I haven't heard.
Oh, right. Okay.
I think it was Nathan. I think it was Nathan who said it.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, it's only come out in the last 10 minutes, so it's not something you may have seen, and he's got maybe 5 subscribers, so it's not like he's going to be, you know, setting the world alight with this. It wasn't worth any further mention. But yeah, basically he's done exactly what Arwin's described. So immediately, he even disclaimed it. He's like, this is going to really annoy Nathan. It's like, well, it's not going to annoy me. It just shows how you either haven't got the point or are stupid. So, you know, recognising that it's going to annoy me, it's not an annoyance. It's a perspective omission.
Well, haven't we moved past these guys anyway? You know, the Gem Pandas and the like. You know, they haven't been on the show for what, 80 shows?
Yeah, they're just cowards, you know, coming up with disingenuous misrepresentations of our argument from a distance. You know, I think you're right. They're probably not worth any more attention.
Yeah, definitely.
They definitely haven't moved past us. That's for sure.
Did you find out whether you could got permission to use that Taboo Conspiracies mirror?
No, not as yet. Same with Red Pill. I asked Red Pill if I could mirror his video, but I'll have to double check. I just asked him in a comment, so I'll check back after the show, and hopefully he'll have said something about it. Same goes for Taboo. I sent Taboo Conspiracy Red Pill's video as soon as it came out, so hopefully he'll have seen that as well. It's nice that we're all chattering on the same subject. It's nice that Flat Earthers, for a bit of a change, have got a sort of unified task, or whatever you want to call it. We're all kind of working towards one goal in unison, and that I don't think I've seen in 3 years of being in Flat Earth. That, you know, there hasn't been a single thing that has kind of unified lots and lots of people and grabbed the attention of some of the bigger YouTubers. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's things that people go and see together, like the Flat Earth signs, the billboards and things like that. But that's kind of not, it's not a task. It's not setting people's cogs turning in order to achieve something, which is kind of what's happening here. And it's uplifting, I would say. I don't know if you agree.
Yeah, I do. I've seen so many channels talking about this, whereas, like you say, 2 weeks ago, there was none of this.
Yep. It's one hell of a discovery.
I mean, the thing that's a bit frustrating is, you know, I said this on Patricia's show, like with Ireland, when we got things wrong, the whole point of having a debate about stuff is that you assert it and then have it challenged, and if it is wrong, it comes out in the mix. You know, that's what the point of a debate is. So we're having to, like, think of more and more ingenious ways of enticing people like Red or whoever to challenge what we are stating, and all they're doing is having circle jerks and coming out with, you know, misrepresentations of our argument, and things like Ruhif today, complete ignorance of the point. And you're like, right, so there's like you say, Ranty, there's no more debate with these guys anymore. It just seems sad.
It is, but maybe they're...
It's like the beginning of the end.
Yeah, maybe they're coming to the realization that maybe they've got it wrong.
Oh, they're going into broken record mode. Repeating the same stuff over and over again.
It's like a chant, you know, like they're trying to reconnect with the ball by saying the same thing over and trying to reassert it. Yeah. Because it feels like they're losing it, so you're just going into chant mode now.
They just pray to the ball.
Well, it's a religious cult that they have, isn't it? The scientific religion.
Yep.
And they keep going back to the, like, oh, there's got to be some science that proves this. There's got to be
science
something
to affirm the belief.
Yeah.
The body of science is their scripture.
Science.
So
they'll
what
be doing...
do they do when they realize that they have no arguments anymore? Like, what happens then? You know.
But you only need the...
Do they flip that switch and say, hey, maybe there is something wrong? Or do they just begin a new life of being a troll? You know, or just continue just denying what's in their face?
Oh, here we go.
So sad.
Hey, No Globe, how you doing?
Oh, who kicked him?
No Globe's a goodie.
Oh, is he? Sorry, yeah. My bad. I do apologise.
No Globe, it's not Globe Zone.
I don't know. Well, it's just because we just had a couple of trolls join.
Oh,
there we go. There you go. That's the one you want to get.
Yeah, I was expecting that, you know, because they have a routine. They come in with like 10 one after the other, so I was just ready to, you know, bit too click happy. Here we go.
Hey Ben, is that a real person? Yeah. Ben, can you hear us?
Yeah, you spoke up.
Can you hear me? Yes, we can hear you. Yep.
Excellent.
Tim Osman, hello.
Hey.
Oh dear, my kid's screaming.
They're all coming in. Hey, it looks like they've come in en masse today.
Have you figured out the Earth is round yet?
Here we go.
Oh God.
Have you figured it out yet?
Have you brought the proof,
Brenda?
Have you brought
well, you don't accept any proof.
Show us some.
No, you don't accept any.
No, we show you how your proofs are invalid.
No, you don't.
Have you brought another picture from like 1958 or something? Prove
Yeah,
your
sure.
globe.
1966
Oh, yeah, you did,
is
right?
fine.
Oh, awesome.
66.
Is it as crisp as the modern CGI picture you showed the last time?
That's not a modern CGI. It's taken with a
no, that's
it's taken with a Hasselblad 70
quality
millimeter single
photograph.
reflex camera.
Nah, troll. Just wanted to share something with you. Check this out, Nate.
Is that the real Chris?
No, that was Tim.
Coming in now.
I'm just curious about that 1966 photo, if you've got a source that you can refer to.
NASA. This is, or the Smithsonian.
Yeah.
The Smithsonian Institution. You know.
It's lovely.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'd love to see a lineup with other photographs from that era, including the ones from NASA, and just
You don't think that we had color photography in 1966?
It's beautiful, and it'll really stand out like the contrast.
You don't think we had
times as sharp as any photograph of that era? It's beautiful.
No, it's not. It's a 70 millimeter camera, dude. It's a huge film.
Sure. Yeah.
And it was taken from a satellite?
No.
Hello, this is Rajim.
So it was taken by an astronaut.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And at what elevation?
No, I don't know how high up. I don't know high up they were. High enough to see the curve.
What mission was it?
They're in orbit.
High enough not to see any stars once again.
Yeah, that's called exposure.
Yeah.
What mission was it?
Right.
Gemini 10.
Just like the exposure when we actually look at the moon and you can see stars directly beside it.
It's called exposure when you have a camera and you try to make maybe a bright object in a dark room. You adjust exposure so you can actually see the details in the bright object.
Like the moon?
Distant dim objects like stars will be, you know, the exposure levels will not allow you to see them.
No.
If you adjusted exposure so that
if you take a photograph of the full moon and it's really, really
just
bright,
let her get to the end of a point.
Directly next to
Arwen, just let her get
to
the end of a point, just so she can actually make a point, so we can, you know, I at least want the audience to hear what she's got to say before she gets interrupted and told she's wrong.
Well, we expect rudeness from flat earthers because you don't have the truth. So you have to use bullying tactics like you do, Nathan.
So you were talking about exposure.
You're a bully, Nathan.
About me and my
all you do is yell at people.
Brenda, we haven't gotten to that point right now, so it's no use bringing it up. So we're having a pretty decent conversation thus far.
Oh, okay. Well, the point is, this is the Gemini 10, launched in July 18th, 1966, taken with a Hasselblad 70 millimeter single reflex camera by. This is a docking operation. One ship is docking with the other, and the photograph is taken by an astronaut. It is the photograph is available at the Smithsonian Institution. You can actually see and inspect the camera itself at the Smithsonian. And I'm sure if it was you probably couldn't as an ordinary person see it, but the negative, the film itself is very likely stored at the Smithsonian.
That's cool.
Is there any?
Right, just one quick question. Is it actually? Sorry, my kid's squealing. Is it actually possible for us to forget the camera to go and get that view?
Is it possible for you to get the camera? Well, the camera is owned by the Smithsonian, so I don't think they would let you take it.
That wasn't my question. I'll ask it again.
I didn't understand.
Forget the camera and the film. What about getting the view? Replicating the view. Can I do that?
Sure. Yeah, you can do that.
Oh,
I'll just put it up on screen
Of
again.
course you can. Yeah, go ahead and do it.
Tell me how.
Well, you need to build a rocket, and then you need to haul
that's
your
it?
big butt up onto the top of the rocket and ride it up to the same height that they were at.
Okay, what landmass is visible in the image? Apart
I
from
don't know.
the Earth, is there any
I don't know.
landmass at all that you could say
No.
definitively this is some
No.
land? No,
There's
because
no.
I don't see that very often in any of
Yeah.
these.
Well, most of the Earth is ocean anyway.
All right. Okay. Where's the stars?
It's called exposure. You know what exposure is in a camera.
Does that get rid of the landmass?
Do you know what exposure is?
Yeah, we know
Yeah.
what exposure is.
Right. So it's
Doesn't
called
apply.
light
Well,
level. So
Well,
if you
what
have
we're
a
doing
very
now, we're
Hold on,
exposing
Ranty.
this
I
image.
just want to hear
No,
her say.
that's a different meaning. When you have a very bright object and you adjust the exposure in a camera so that you can resolve the bright object, distant and more dim objects will not be visible.
So didn't they train the astronauts to use a camera?
Huh?
Why didn't they train the astronauts to use a camera?
What do you mean? Why
Rand,
did?
before you get into that, Ranty, I would like to now clearly, without interrupting anyone, present my counter argument for your exposure theory, because it's absolute nonsense. When you actually photograph the moon really, really close up, just like people like Crow 777 have done, when it's almost taking up the full screen, when it is full, it's very, very bright, you can still see stars directly next to it if they're there. So it is a totally fallacious, nonsensical argument, and it's not true.
That was going to be one of the points that I brought up, that if you do have, say, hold on just real quick, Brenda. If you do have, say, a picture of the Earth from a distance and you have so-called washout of the stars, they're still there. They haven't gone anywhere, but you're saying the exposure can't catch them. Yeah, so can't you adjust what you do have and see that they actually are there when you adjust the film's exposure? You can actually then go in and see that they're actually there. So
if the information isn't there, if the information isn't there in the negative, it's not there. So if you have a camera, if you have a darkened room,
it's amazing with the millions of stars that are up there. They don't even catch one by accident.
Oh, you can.
Not even one.
I'm sure that there are images where you can see the stars. However, if you have a camera
NASA
and a darkened room and let's say a bunch of candles on a birthday cake, objects in the darkened room will not be visible to the camera because you will adjust the exposure levels so that you can see, for instance, the birthday cake.
Really? So if there are any
you
very
don't believe me,
small lamps,
you don't believe
very, very small,
Brenda,
tiny.
I shut them up when you were talking. Just let him say his response. Come on.
Yeah. What if in that same darkened room are very, very small flickering lights, say like LED lights, that are being exposed by shining through small tubes, and you can only see the ends of the tubes? Well, if it's dark in there, you're gonna see them. So it's total nonsense. You only can't see anything due to exposure because the rest in relation is not lit up enough.
You might
see the stars are actual lights themselves.
Yes.
You might so what kind of argument is that because of exposure you don't see the other lights? No.
Because you're looking with a camera, not the human eye.
Arwin,
The human eye is very good at picking out low light. It's much better than a camera. So cameras are very limited in the range of shades that they can see, the range of lightness and darkness.
Really? Well,
yes.
I've seen some.
The human eye is much better than a camera.
Right. Okay. Because there are some images from like the Hubble that would disagree with that. If you believe that the Hubble is real.
That doesn't contradict anything I've said.
Sorry,
that's a
but
false
there's
equivalency, Ranty. I mean, she's not talking
of...
about this picture being taken with Hubble.
There's enough photography from the Earth upwards seeing stars in great detail. So I don't see how this is an argument at all.
Yes, because you don't understand exposure, Arwen.
No, I do understand, and I
explain it back.
you
Explain it back to me
as
then.
to how I understand it and how your argument is completely fallacious.
My argument is that cameras are limited in the exposure range that they're able to see, and and when you adjust exposure to see a bright object that is very close by, dim objects that are farther away, you won't be able to see them. They won't be able to be resolved.
And have you checked that for this particular image, Brenda? I think we established this already, that you hadn't actually been up there and taken this picture yourself, or the only way of verifying it is to go on a rocket to verify it, right? Build a rocket ourselves and then presumably get the government to allow us to do this.
Well, you could put a balloon up.
Right. Would they not have gone by then?
You could put a... Will they not have gone?
Yeah, the things that were in your picture, which I don't know what those
you
models.
Sorry,
I was actually talking, Brenda. We're trying to keep it civil. So those things in your picture, those models that you showed, we don't know how the stars will look when adjusting any exposure levels, because we can't go up there and replicate it, unless you've got a rocket I can borrow.
You can get a balloon for a few $100s, pool your money with all your flat earthers, and put a good camera on there that's not a fisheye lens, and launch it in a weather balloon. You can do that. The reason you won't do that is because other flat earthers have done that, and it shows a curve, and so you won't do that.
Sorry, you're onto a different subject now. I'm talking specifically about the picture you took, and I said, won't the objects that were in the picture, won't they have gone already?
Yes, Nathan.
Right.
The Gemini ship is not up in orbit anymore.
Right. So is anybody going up and independently verifying any of these pictures, Brenda?
Yes. Because
who's doing that?
The salient part is not the Gemini spacecraft. It's the curvature of the Earth you can see.
Sorry, you're onto this different subject again. So we were studying your photography. I'm asking you about independent verification from anybody outside of NASA, and you're now talking about Earth curving the image. So I'm talking about verifying the picture and who has gone up with them or at any other stage and independently verified this.
You can go up and take a photograph from that height. And
sorry, you've just gone through this and I've explained. They're already gone. This mission has passed. So I'm trying to establish during any of the other missions, were there independent verifiers, people from the public, like me, following them up with balloons, as you suggest?
Yeah, you could put a balloon up there.
So NASA would let me put a balloon up next to one of their rockets, would they?
It's the curvature. It's not the Gemini 10. It's the curvature.
Yeah, but we haven't got an independent verification of this picture. We often get asked, so Ranty will be asked, have you reproduced this? Have you gone back and done it yourself? Has someone else gone there and replicated your observation? Well, in this instance, we only have one source, and we have absolutely no way of verifying it ourselves and no independent verification of the images, but you want to tell us all about how it proves stuff.
What it shows is the curvature of the Earth. I don't care about the Gemini 10.
Right, but it's not independently verified, is it?
Anybody with any kind of photographic...
So you've moved on, so why did you show it us? Why didn't you just show us a picture from high altitude with a curve in it? Why have you shown us this spacecraft?
Why?
Yeah,
because
why?
it predates modern computers, and it eliminates your objection of CGI.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, it does.
Oh, right.
They had no computers back then capable.
So what? So how long do you think people have been faking photographs? How long do you think people have been faking photographs? Do you think that's something that's new since computers?
That level of
faking
fakery,
stuff has gone right back to before cameras existed. People fake artwork. People literally forge artwork and copy it identically. Faking and forging stuff is as old as history. So to assert that because we don't have computers, that overrides some objection that it's totally fake is nonsense.
It reduces the likelihood that
it doesn't reduce any likelihood. If there's a likelihood it can be fake, What you suddenly need then is independent verification, which you don't have.
By eliminating the possibility of Photoshop or CGI.
Not Photoshop. You deaf? Why are you misrepresenting my argument? I've just said that faking stuff goes back before cameras. People would fake paintings. So you saying that because we haven't got Photoshop in the picture, suddenly that means that they can't fake it is utter nonsense.
If you suspect that it's been faked, then you can probably lead an investigation team and inspect the negative itself, which I suspect Smithsonian has on file the negatives from the Hasselblad 70mm camera was used to take these photographs. There is a physical...
what? We can't go back and replicate it. Nobody's been back and independently verified it. You've just got one source.
Inspect that film and see whether it was tampered with.
So what? So what? It's just a film. You can fake anything, and they have been faking stuff since stuff was being painted before cameras. It's a nonsense argument.
Except for
it's really not very easy at all to that level of fakery with standard with props and things like that.
Really? Is it easy to rob a bank?
Wouldn't be able
Hold on. Is it easy to rob a bank? Is it easy to rob a bank?
Yeah, it is actually. You just get a gun and you walk in and demand money.
See, when they go in with a gun, they've got these electronic shutters that go up. They've got electronic shutters that go up when people walk in with a gun and shut the entire bank down. So, do people rob banks? Yes. Is it easy?
Yes.
No. Just because something is difficult doesn't mean it hasn't happened.
It doesn't take a genius. It doesn't take a genius to rob a bank.
All right, it doesn't take a genius to fake stuff with models and just take a picture of it and claim that it's in space. That would be very, very easy to do without any CGI, just a couple of models. Just watch Red Dwarf. Really easy to fake space. You don't need computers to fake things. People have been faking stuff since the beginning of history. Faking stuff is an occupation for many, including NASA.
Yeah, but if an image is fake, you can determine it to be fake without just looking at it. You can do photo forensics and tell that something is fake.
Which has been done to how many NASA pictures?
Right.
No, they haven't
shown to be.
Putting a photograph
you can keep denying that, bro.
People go through photo forensics all the time. One of the earliest things Rob Skiver ever did was import a picture of the Earth from a NASA file.
Mention something quickly, Nathan?
And show that it's Photoshop.
Walter Bislin's just included a perspective mode and any R value you like in his curve calculator, so it's all sorted.
Yeah.
No more need to worry. You can go on his calculator and you can put in any radius you want, and you can turn it on to perspective mode, especially for you guys.
Yeah,
Who's done this?
Slice Arcade
Walter Bislin's updated his
Milo,
the advanced curve calculator.
Yeah.
Can you mute Milo?
And Slice Arcane has a good video on perspective for flippers.
No, it's not Milo. My bad. It's plain truth.
Because you don't understand perspective either, do you, Nathan?
Sorry, it's you guys who have a perspective omitting calculator. Now, you've claimed that this Walter guy's got a new calculator. I have not even heard of this. We will have a look at it.
Yeah, I've seen it in my feed.
Wonderful.
Why would he have had to make a new calculator if we were wrong?
Good point.
It's just for you.
Sorry, that's a good point,
Brenda.
Brenda.
Did it for us?
Why would you need to make a new calculator when... Hold on, Brenda, shut up a second. Shut up, shut up.
You can put it in the radius of 5,000 miles.
I've got a question for all you globeheads. Why would you need a new calculator? Surely the old one's fine, right? You've all compared it to photographs.
It's just for special calculator for very special people.
Is it a new curve calculator that is comparable to photographs or not? Is it useful for comparison to photography? Yes or no?
Yes, it's got flat and curved Earth as well.
And is it different?
If you're not happy with the consensus, you can put in your own
Is it
R.
different to Mick West's calculator, or is it exactly the same?
It's better because it's got visuals as well.
Is it different to Mick West's calculator, or the same as Mick West?
It is now. It has perspective mode.
Is it different?
He said it's better.
Or the same?
Any R value you want.
Sorry.
He said it's better.
Is it different or the same as Mick West? Why isn't it? I'm not getting an answer to this question.
It's different.
It's different.
Milo,
Why would you need?
said it's better?
Why would you need a different calculator? Surely the old one works, doesn't it?
It has special features for special people.
Sorry, there's no need to condescend to me. It seems we've got a new calculator when we've had plenty of people using the old one, and I'm demanding retractions because the old one is wrong. Now you're saying there's a new and improved calculator. So I'm demanding retractions from people like Jem, people like Rumpus, people like Red, who have used the old, busted, perspective omitting calculator, and now we hear there's a new one. So you better be damn sure I want these retractions from anybody who has used that old, broken, not working perspective omitting calculator.
You used it more than anybody else, Nathan.
Sorry. Everybody else who has used that calculator, if there's a new and improved one, has got it wrong.
Why aren't we using the old one?
Can't win.
You can use either one you want, Nathan.
Are they giving different results?
The new one has perspective.
Are they giving different results, Dawn?
It has a special mode for special people.
Yeah, that's
Thunder, you keep saying that again and again and again. You don't realize how stupid you make yourself sound every time you come on here, right?
You're a special person, Nathan.
You don't realize how stupid you make yourself sound.
One more, you kicked out. It's not part of the debate to say it's for special people when we're trying to establish that there's a new calculator that apparently, according to Dawn, who I don't really trust, is different to the old one. Subsequently, if we have a different calculator, why haven't the people who use the old one with a different result made any retractions?
The old one isn't wrong. It's just not updated.
Sorry, if the new one is different, then the old one is wrong. The results are different.
That's not true.
No, it's not totally different. Totally.
Well, then it's not different. If it gives the same result, then it's not different. It's the same. So, can I get another answer to my question, please? If you can all just shut up for a second.
Tier's textbooks aren't wrong. They're just different.
Sorry.
Right. You understand? Does
it give a... I'll rephrase my question. Does the new calculator give a different result to the old one?
We wouldn't know if we didn't test it out first. Let's test it.
So you don't know?
Let's test it.
Do you know the answer to this question, Milo? If not, shut up.
I think it's going to be the same, Nathan, unless you invoke.
You just said it was different, Dawn. You just said it was different. So are you confused?
Yeah, I mean it's different, as in it's not the exact same calculator. It's got the same code and maths in it.
There's two things here, Dawn. Let's get them pegged down. Different means not the same. The same means the same. So which is it? Is it different or the same?
I'm going to stick with different.
So it's a different calculator. Oh, so why have the people that have used the old calculator with a different result not made any retractions?
Well, because the old one wasn't wrong.
Sorry, it's different to the new one, though. Apparently the new one's special for special people who can get the calculation right according to this new calculator, right?
The code's up online there. There's a link if you want to make your own one. Even better,
I don't care. We will look at it at our leisure, Dawn. What I'm asking you is it different or the same? And we seem to have some confusion.
It confirms the numbers.
Confusion.
It is different.
It's with the special people.
Yeah, I've heard that ad hom. Right, I gave you 2 warnings, Ellen, whatever your name is. Now it's time for you to get out.
Brenda.
Nathan, can you see the picture on my screen?
Don't need to keep telling us it's a special calculator for special people.
She is a special person.
Yeah, go ahead, Ben.
Oh. Yeah.
Hello, Apollo 16. Can you hear us?
Is it okay? Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear us, Apollo?
Yeah, I was wondering if you could present this. I don't know how to do that.
Good to have you.
Hey, what's up?
Good to have you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I wanted to be able to present this picture on the screen. It's just a perspective shot I shot.
Interesting icon picture you have there, Apollo 16.
Thank you. So
is that the moon?
No, that's Earth.
Earth.
Shout out to Red Pill Philosophy for the super chat. Arrogant fake laughter. The globers sound desperate. Not good. Thanks very much.
The guy that was calling it a calculator for special people was really annoying to listen to. He was really annoying.
That guy, right? That guy, Brenda.
Yeah.
He's actually an identified person. Yeah.
I think he's really frustrated with something.
We have a 14-year-old in the panel, so just watch it.
Yeah, there's no need to add on her either.
So Nathan, would it be possible for me to show you just a quick demonstration here?
Yeah, sure. What is it?
This picture that I've got up on screen here, I just wanted to show you.
Sure, you're up.
How. Okay, cool. So this is just a photo I shot of a pen, flashlight, and some cleaning wipes or whatever in the background. There's a like a clear plastic thing in between that makes it a little blurry that you can tell. That's going to represent the what would be hidden. And
sorry, I've got an objection already. So you're saying that perspex thing in the background represents the thing that's hidden, but the hidden is the bulge in the near foreground, and that looks like it's in the background.
Well, this isn't a curved surface.
No, what I'm saying is you're trying to represent an obstruction in the near foreground, the bulge, but you seem to have an obstruction in the far distance next to the target, which isn't where the bulge in Earth curve calculators is. It's in the near foreground, not in the background.
Well, does it matter where it is?
Yes, we're trying to replicate an obstruction in the near foreground, aka a bulge. I've just said this literally 5 seconds ago. What part of it didn't you understand?
Well, so
repeat back to me my issue. My issue is that you are trying to replicate an obstruction in the near foreground, aka the bulge. Can you repeat that back to me?
What's the near foreground?
Shut up, Milo, or you'll get kicked out. This dickhead Ben is going to get his toes held to the fire, or he's going to get explained what the bulge causing the obstruction is. It's not a hidden value that you move. The value is just a concept from maths. The bulge, you think, is something physical in the foreground that obscures your view. Do you understand? Yes or no?
I don't think it's in the foreground. I don't think the bulge is in the foreground.
Sorry, you don't think the bulge is in the foreground? Well, then you're a retard. The bulge, in the case of the current pictures under investigation by us, the guys actually out taking pictures, is 1.5 miles away from the observer for a target that is 30 plus miles away. So why the hell wouldn't you think it would be in the near foreground?
Well, it's falling away from you.
Sorry, what's falling away? The bulge is a target in the near foreground. It's not doing anything. It's just a big fat bulge that isn't there in any photographs.
I think they don't even understand what.
Shut up, Milo. Means. What is your malfunction? I'm talking to Ben.
I haven't even said anything.
You just did.
That was me, Nathan. That was
me.
My
bad. Sorry. Sorry, you sound very similar. My bad, Milo. My bad, Ben. Sorry. So what don't you understand? You have a bulge that causes the hidden.
Right. No, I understand that. Yeah. Well, what I wanted to point out was that I mean, you understand that perspective would be the same whether it's a globe Earth or a flat Earth, right?
No, on a globe you would have perspective and the effect of the globe, and currently you only calculate for the effect of the globe and you exclude perspective.
No, I understand. There would be perspective and it would fall away from you on a globe, but perspective alone would be the same as it would be on a flat Earth, right?
I don't live on a globe. I've no way of checking.
Well, if we think we're on a globe, we all understand that perspective works the same, don't we?
No, you guys who are on the globe side have a calculator that omits it and keeps the absolute values of things so you can engineer in curve where one does not exist.
So you don't want to agree that perspective is the same to all of us?
Yes, I've just explained that globe heads don't take into account perspective. So it would seem people who believe they live on a sphere ignore perspective. So no, it's different for us. You guys think a bloody curve that doesn't exist is getting in the way. We understand that perspective is real.
Right. If you just ignore the curve calculator for a minute, just because I think that just distracts it.
Oh, really? Well, that's kind of the topic of the conversation. So while Johnny Globehead here, Ben, doesn't want to talk about the curve calculator, I do. Tough shit, we're talking about the curve calculator and its exclusion of perspective.
No, I want to talk about perspective specifically. I don't care about the curve calculator right now.
I do. I care that Johnny Globehead thinks it's okay to exclude perspective, and we're looking with cameras how perspective works, while you guys simultaneously don't retract any of your nonsense that you've already asserted and continue to assert that it's okay to exclude perspective.
Okay, so imagine you're looking just like 100 feet in front of you. You agree that there wouldn't be any...
I've done pictures. Red Pill's in the chat. He's gone out only days earlier and actually done practical applications of this stuff. People are photographing stuff and showing it visually. I don't want to imagine anything, no.
But there would be no...
You've taken pictures, which I've just ripped to shreds, Johnny Globehead Ben. Yeah? Wanker from the comments, who's joined with his little scared stuttery voice. Yeah, Ben? I know you are. You're an asshole. And you've joined with a crap picture that I've just tore a new one, and now you're taking us to our imagination.
It's just a picture I took. That's what.
Yeah, I know, it's crap. It's got a bulge in the distance, which is now your globe works, is it, Ben?
Yeah, 1 mile away.
Shut up, Milo! Away. Shut up!
Okay, I'm not going to talk about the globe then. Let's just talk about flat Earth.
No, we're talking... Are you deaf? Or just stupid? What part of we are talking about the perspective omitting, proof of nothing, begging the question curve calculator? What part of that don't you understand?
I want to explain to you how perspective works.
I don't need an explanation for how perspective works. I need to see either a load of globeheads retracting their error-riddled examples of using this calculator that excludes perspective, or somebody actually coming on and applying it.
You don't need to.
You don't need to apply perspective? Yeah, that's because you're a perspective omitting globehead. I've just clarified this for the audience, Milu.
We see in actual sizes, Nathan.
No, we don't. You absolute buffoon. We don't see in absolute sizes. You never, ever, ever see anything in an absolute size. That is not a concept that our eyes cope with. We only see perspective. You are a perspective-denying globehead.
No, because a 1,000-foot object in the distance is still 1,000 foot.
No, it isn't. It never was 1,000 feet because we don't see in absolute sizes. You buffoon.
So you're saying it's not 1,000 feet?
1,000 feet is a concept on a tape measure. You don't see in absolute sizes. That's not how your eyes work. You only see in perspective.
What I want to show you is how you can take a photograph and you can figure out how much is going to be hidden if you have an obstruction in the way. And
yeah, you can do that in orthographic and ignore perspective, which is what you globeheads do. That's the point.
Right.
Don't sigh. Don't sigh at me. Either tell your globehead friends they need to get their asses on here and make retractions for all the crap they've asserted on my show that's incorrect, or they need to come on here if they haven't been on and haven't asserted this stuff incorrectly and start actually applying perspective.
Don't need to apply it.
Yes, you do. We do not see in absolute sizes, Milu. You are retarded.
We do see in absolute sizes.
No, we don't. You don't see things down the line of a tape measure running next to something. That's a concept.
Blue Marble
no, but
has
you know
a
that
question.
it hasn't changed its size.
It hasn't changed its physical size, but we don't see in actual sizes. We only see apparent sizes. Nothing physically changes, but our perception of it changes based on its distance.
The apparent size and the actual size is the same.
No, the apparent size is measured with an angle. The actual size is measured with a tape measure. You absolute idiot. What kind of... This is really what it's descended to. The globe.
Can you share my screen, Nathan?
Pardon?
Can you share my screen?
Who?
Does anybody remember 2 days ago or something when Timmy came in here and he said that he wanted to stop a glober from saying dumb shit? He was talking about this guy.
Who, me?
I mean, it's ridiculous. Yeah, Milo.
Oh, Milo.
Chocolate, you're about the dumbest person on this panel, so.
Am I really?
Yeah, you are.
Obviously.
You are.
Really?
I think the dog in your icon is probably smarter than you.
Oh, come on.
Is everyone seeing my screen? This is perspective. This is a perspective view of these lights. Can you all see that we're looking down and they appear smaller perspectively, even though they're the same height?
Yeah, if you were to
raise
it.
Perspective argument. This is half a mile down the road, but it's half the size. It's not going over the curve, but it's reduced in half the size.
If you were to raise your camera to the level of the lamppost, you would see a straight line of lamp.
Yeah, but he didn't. He just took it from this position, and what do you know? Perspective. We always get it every time anybody uses a picture or looks at anything. It's amazing, Milo.
If you're gonna change the vantage point and add in a new variable, yeah, it's gonna change. That's not what we're saying.
I'm asking you if it would line up all the.
Okay, this is misdirection. Okay, you're giving us a red herring because you're not addressing Randy's question.
Time wasted.
It's no use. He basically stated that the apparent size, which is as you see it in perspective, and the literal size is the same, which is absolutely only a blind person could be so foolish as to say that. Somebody that has never actually seen anything.
Been joined by Anthony Riley. How you doing, Anthony? Good to have you.
All is good. I'm on the beach at the minute. I can't get on the actual hangout, but I'm on Crosby Beach, and I can see the visibility is fantastic today. I've took my P900.
Excellent, excellent.
What have I missed? Other than 6-1.
Right. Okay. We were talking perspective. Anthony, are you seeing my screen?
No, not really. It's bright as hell on the beach. I can't see my screen because it's bright as hell on the beach.
All right. Okay. Well, we're still trying to explain to the Globers how, prospectively, the same object height further down the road is going to look smaller, and they don't understand it, even though they've got an image.
I think Milo just doesn't understand.
An image right up. Now, they're looking at it right now.
But I'm trying to show you right now how you're supposed to use an orthographic view to determine the size.
Yeah, we know you can determine actual size with an orthographic view. We're only interested in relative size. It doesn't seem to be sinking in. Don't sigh. Just accept that we do encounter perspective, and your side view that deals in absolute sizes is erroneous because it doesn't match reality.
So you're denying geometry?
Yeah, we're denying geometry that excludes perspective to prove a ball with a presuppositional value of r. Yes, we are denying that, yes.
It's right in front of you here.
No, what's in front of me is Ranty's screen with perspective. I've already smashed your crap demo with one photo of a ball in the distance while Milo talks all over me. So this guy and his crap picture has been smashed to smithereens, and he still wants to talk about it. No.
I think we have an interesting opportunity to talk to the Globers as if they were 14-year-olds, because we actually have a 14-year-old on, and he asked
a 14-year-old. Come on.
No. But he asked the question. He said, "What does perspective have to do with this?" Blue Marble asked the question, and it got missed. So maybe
Blue Marble. Yeah.
Well, I think we pretty much answered it. What does perspective have to do with what we see? Well, it's very simple. Something in the foreground, even though it is the literal same size as something twice as far away from the observer, is going to look roughly twice as big in all dimensions. The relative size is going to be bigger with something that is closer by than the same size object that is further back visible. That is how perspective works. That is how we see things. That is how all observations are, because all observations are in perspective. When you use a model, an orthographic view, or whatever geometry you like to latch onto, that's not an actual observation. That's a concept.
But orthographic
it's not a visual thing.
So at what point does geometry break down?
When it excludes perspective completely.
At what distance is geometry wrong?
Sorry, you didn't acknowledge what I just said.
What did you
say?
Well,
I can tell you the distance that geometry is wrong. If you get the metabump curve calculator, put your observer on the beach, say, I don't know, 2-3 feet above the water, which is where we could all easily get to, and then put your observation that you're looking at, say, 30 miles. It tells you that it's 1.2 miles to the horizon. Well, it isn't 1.2 miles to the horizon. That's only the case if we live on a sphere. We don't live on a sphere. You can see for miles to the horizon. There is no obstruction at the horizon. There is no drop. There is no bulge. The Earth is obviously and repeatedly, and what is the rest of it, Nate?
Obviously and observably flat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think that's quite a good idea to probably round out on that note. So we're going to have a short break, but in the meantime, I will say first and foremost a massive thank you to all of the debating panel for making this debate possible, and of course a massive thank you to all of the audience for tuning in and hopefully sharing this debate. Thanks to Red Pill Philosophy also for the super chat. If you hated the show, you know exactly what to do, but if you liked the show, maybe consider sharing it with a friend or subscribing if you have not done so already. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!